Hi, everybody. Welcome to another sneak peek of our teachers who will be on the Holistic Chamber of Commerce sponsored Isla Mujeres Ultimate Healing Retreat taking place next June 2020 on the beautiful island, like I said, of Isla Mujeres. We're welcoming all of you. Looks like we have several of our teachers here tonight, and we are featuring a sneak peek with Kandy Taylor Love. Yay. Welcome, Kandy. Good to have you here. You know what, if I think what we'd do is if I could have everybody go off camera except Kandy, and then we'll come on after a little bit of conversation with Kandy, and then we will dive in a little bit about what this retreat's all about and answer any questions anybody may have. And certainly if you're watching this on the replay, you can contact us anytime to answer or ask any of the questions you may have, and we're happy to answer them for you. So, Tony, I'm just going to take you off. How do you? Oh, yeah, no, that's just your picture. So you are off camera. Okay, good. All right. So we're thrilled to have Kandy here. For those of you who don't know Kandy, you must know Kandy, and I'll let her speak more about who she is. But when you think of people in Southwest Florida who really know how to embody balance, mindfulness, yoga, calmness, integrating meditation, and really bringing harmony and awareness to self, we think of Kandy Taylor Love. So having Kandy on the retreat is fantastic because we are more than just a physical body. We know we're emotional, mental, spiritual. And so having balance in all ways is the best way to nourish, heal, and relax and refresh. And that's our goal for this retreat. So integrating all the beautiful gifts that Kandy offers is a gift for all of us. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more, Kandy, and then we can just talk a little bit about retreat and what you're envisioning as we know it right now.
Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. So as Lainey said, I'm Kandy Love, and I'd like to get out of the way first that is my real name. I've been asked that recently quite a bit, and it is spelled with a K, just to kind of just clarify, even at this point where it's not in writing. And so I began a journey at least 40 years ago now in my crazy world of all the different jobs I've done, from corporate to teaching to running a newspaper. And throughout all that, there was a real sense of disharmony and more scatteredness, not a sense of knowing where I was, and just kept going. I mean, just keep producing, keep functioning, keep pushing forward. And I got sick regularly, just cold stuff, tiredness, fatigue. And then it would abate. I'd go on again. I'd go up and go off skyrocketing, and then I'd crash for a couple of days, and I'd skyrocket. And when I started taking yoga classes, there was something else that happened, and it was a slow start. It took a period of time to really realize that it wasn't just about the physical positions I was putting myself in. I was not a runner. I was not a swimmer. I liked to dance, but none of those things, particularly anything jarring, just never. I mean, since childhood was something I did. When I found the yoga room and got on a mat and began to learn about my body differently, that it wasn't fast. This was not the hot yoga, the vinyasa, quick things. This was a different style that focused on being in the moment, in your body, in a place, and weight. And that slowed me down. That got my attention of focus and concentration, but not just on a topic, which I could do on a subject if I was studying something. This was about me physically, breath-wise, energetically, mentally, emotionally, and none of that combination ever even occurred to me before. That I could actually gather myself, not just physically for strength and flexibility and mobility, which it does, but I could also hear myself, feel myself, listen, see myself in different eyes. So I'd say probably that began the journey of really seeing myself through a different lens. And from there, I went deeper into the topic, and I got much more involved in meditation. So I learned, so my yoga is Iyengar yoga. Some people might be familiar with that term. It's a style of hatha yoga. We use props. We keep the poses longer. And as I said, we learn about going into the posture, going to ourselves in one place. And then the meditation started. So transcendental meditation is how I started. And that began about 3 or 4 years into my yoga commitment. And that grew from also my desire to know more about the body, because in the style of yoga I studied, we actually move the body physically as a teacher. We adjust. So I became a massage therapist so that I could learn anatomy and physiology, and fell in love with massage. So it gave me a second door into myself, as well as how I could share it with others. So the yoga on the mat, meditation, you start to get yourself. On the massage table, you receive all that. So it became a real balance for not just myself, but when I worked with others, so they could get both sides. And so that's been my evolution.
Beautiful. Well, so for people who are considering coming to this event,
yes,
spending 5 days with all of us, what do you envision for the retreat? I know that we'll be all gathering. It'll be a small, intimate group of 20 or 30 of us. And are you envisioning the importance of, is it moving through before, motions before we even begin to eat? Is that important for digestion? Is it better just kind of wake up and set the tone for the day, or better to do, we're going to do stuff at night? Or what do you feel is going to be wonderful to add to the experience of the retreat?
So I mean, that's really what this is about, to cull it down to say what on a food retreat would be beneficial. So since it's not a yoga retreat, so it's not about doing an hour of yoga asana every morning. It's much more about, I use the word mindful, that there's a focus, a calming, and you use that word as well, about calming. So it's coming home to yourself. And so to do that on a retreat in this idyllic setting we'll be in is certainly going to be, we can just draw from that energetic in the setting, and then to focus on what we're going to eat. In other words, what we're bringing into our body. So that means we've got to be aware of our body. So there'll be some movement to open the body up to receive. There'll be some breathing, because you need to breathe. We inhale as we take in our food. We don't really exhale. So how is that for us? And then there's this mindfulness, this awareness to the moment of, where are our thoughts? Are we with our food? Are we off in our minds someplace else? So it's really about, you use the word again, integration, of bringing all of our parts together for an activity that is crucial. Eating our foods are detrimental to our health, which is, of course, the focus of the retreat, to really learn better ways of what we imbibe. And so I vision that our time together in the morning, evening will be a start of how do we receive our world, and then at the end of the day to say, how did we receive it? How can we go into the quiet with it? So there'll be some movement to open up. There'll be breathing to get the flow going. There'll be some meditative type movement exercises, some very seated meditation exercises, and hopefully that throughout the day, whatever you start the morning with and whatever you end the night with, you can integrate throughout the day. So it's not like separate. There's nothing to me that, when speaking to you and designing this part of the trip for everyone, the experience was, it's not to be separate. Oh, and then we're going to go off and do this. It really is about, how does this whole thing come together for a personal, individual experience to take home? It's not like, I'm going to go off to this great island and leave it there, and I come home and, oh, what am I going to do? How do I
Right. No, everything is to integrate and move this information into our souls for everyday living. I think there are going to be so many aha moments, and so many epiphanies, and so many transitions and expressions. I just see lots of movements of gratitude in this, because we are certainly going to be grateful for the setting, grateful for the companionship and the camaraderie amongst everyone who's going, and grateful for the education that we are now understanding how to treat our body temple. So I'm excited about all these pieces working together on this retreat.
And I feel like that you tapped on a really good aspect, that sometimes we don't hold ourselves in the highest. We it's like mundane. Okay, we have a body, we have to get through our days, and I have to eat. And so the people choosing to come this, I'm anticipating, are going to look for new ways, new eyes, And then there's this thing of, but it's not just about our day-to-day taking a mouthful and let our body do it. It's really remembering that we are part of a bigger picture, that we are part of the wholeness, and that whatever we take in affects us and takes back out to our environment. So it's really a belonging in the environment, in the world, belonging within ourselves. And so it's going to be that wholeness, that integration, the divine. And I'll use it because we often don't apply that word to ourselves. We have so many responsibilities and obligations and media that says out, out, out. And so this time is going to be one of those important and valuable times for really to take this moment to embrace the beauty and complicatedness of ourselves and really honor every single cell of our body that is alive with the planet and with ourselves.
So right. No, I have chills because you've expressed exactly how we've been feeling we see is going to transpire. And after being in that, for us to all receive, giving ourselves the gift of this trip and giving ourselves the gift of receiving of the beauty that we will experience on this island. There's so many multiple expressions, and we'll talk about that after we're done here, about a little bit more about the island. But this is really something for people who can finally go into that divine feminine, which is a receiving energy, where Isla Mujeres is the island of the women. This is all about what can we do for our self-care, exploration. So incorporating mind, body, and spirit with you and with everybody here. I know Tony's participating, and Lucille and Deb, and I'm not sure who the other person is, but we have a lot of people coming to this who move in so many circles and are doing great things in the world. And it's just that moment of winding down, because we can only do so much if we're not maintaining proper nutrition. So that nutrition, and I hear Tony always say that to me, comes in many forms. We're feeding ourselves by moving the body. We're feeding ourselves. Right? So, Kandy, we're so excited to have your overall mentorship for the participants, and for all of us teachers too. Is to you give a lot of remembrance to even those who know some of these aspects of how to take care of ourselves. So, any last thoughts, and then we'll open up a little bit of the floor for questions, because we're just about done.
Well, the only thing I'd like to add is that it's not so serious. Like we're talking about very, pretty significant, bigger topics of like who we are, but it's also about fun and playful. That part of ourselves that we got to get healthy and we got to do it the right way. And we want to, the whole idea is that how much can we actually laugh with ourselves, with a group, because this is a group thing that we interact with others. So we gain so much by that, but in a really playful way, not this like, oh, I'm gonna do this right. No.
When I read the topics in a minute, the people will see we made them fun and funny. So to take light heart of these subjects, so it's not like you're sitting there in a science class.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's welcome to ask any questions for Kandy Taylor-Love while you're here, and we'll open up the floor, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the nuts and bolts of this amazing retreat coming up next June. Any questions for Kandy?
I have sort of a question / comment. So, Kandy, do you see this moving through the day then? So perhaps in some of the classes there would be a yoga breathing exercise. Perhaps there would be some movement that we do in the middle of the day. Just kind of wondering, first of all, how you see it flowing right now, and I know that things will become very organic anyway. That's just the way it works.
Right. That's a really good question. I think it kind of alluded to the fact that we'd like to be a thread throughout the day. Certainly the design of it would be ideal if I didn't do it, but each of the teachers would incorporate some aspect of what they're doing in the morning throughout the day, make it their own. It doesn't have to be what I say, but to keep a thread. And I think that's been the intention all along, is as I've watched this thing unfold, this beautiful trip, not just this thing, this amazing trip unfold, is that there is this magic that we're going to weave throughout it. And
Yes.
so I see that perhaps, again, the day is organic with a schedule, that maybe there's time that people will work with each other, like between an activity, going somewhere, that the people who come may group together and go, hey, I might teach a touch exercise. And so they might start doing some either massage or healing work on each other. That could be before the class, after the class. So yes, I see that magic weaving throughout. And then at the end of the day coming together, and it may not be just my guidance at the end of the day. Maybe someone else say, oh, I had this aha. And they get a moment to share with a group in a quiet space. So I feel like it's going to be very organized. Like people assure you this is not just off the top of our heads.
Oh
And
yeah,
yet,
no, we have it pretty scheduled
yeah,
out.
it's pretty scheduled out. And yet there's, as we show up in life, every
Yeah.
schedule is like, yeah, and then we get to go, yeah, sure. So enough nuances that because every individual who's going to be there is going to be adding their own unique personalities and thoughts and aspects, that all of that will come together in a way of being organic, to say, oh, how about if we try that? And then it's not to be disruptive and get off schedule, but just say, can we grow together in another way? So I believe I think it's all very possible that way, with this idea within a structure, there's this movement, much like our bodies. We have the structure and then there's this movement.
Thank you. That's a great question. Well, the way we've designed it, thank you, Kandy, is to wake up each day and you'll have the chance to experience some movement. And you all can stay on camera or not, however you want to do. Or not, and we'll have times for morning meditation before breakfast, or you might want to journal, or the villa. We're staying at the beautiful El Milagro Villa Resort and Marina. You just walk out of your villa and you put your feet in water. They even have little bar stools out in the water where you can just sit in your, at knee length water. It's so beautiful. You could sit on a hammock, sit on a swing, or go for a walk. There's plenty of that time, and then we'll be enjoying breakfast, and most of the breakfasts, all included, will be all demos of nutritious foods that are from the local mercados. And then we'll go into classes. We'll have a class or two, and then we'll go into a beautiful nutritious lunch, and then another class. And then the afternoon, lots of buoyancy. You can choose to go on group excursions with us. We've got lots of them each day. We have something beautifully planned, and if you feel that you need to just integrate more, you could stay back in your villa. You can go snorkeling, you can go diving, you can really get a massage. There's so much you can do. Lay on the best beaches ever on that island, white powdery beaches. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to have inner time and then group time. And then we meet later on for dinner time, and then we may meet again with Kandy for kind of wind down, integrate your evening into the sleep state time. And it's just going to be amazing and wonderful and organic, like Kandy said. So that's kind of the flow. Each day we have an idea of what we're doing, and we're also open to being in total flow. Even the hotel does this huge, like, in Hawaii, it'd be like a luau, but they're doing their own version of a beautiful cookout that they do right there with all the fresh fishes right from the ocean. And that'll be included in one evening. We have an opportunity to go to a gourmet culinary walking tour of a neighborhood in the area on Isla, and we get to visit homemade foods and restaurants, and we get to give them our diet type and sample different things, and that's optional too. And there's a beautiful downtown Isla where we'll walk around, and there's vegan restaurants, vegetarian, all diets are accommodated on this retreat. Obviously, it's a food retreat, and so we will be very mindful of that. And we've been there before, and Oksana Dots is teaching on this team that goes 5 times a year. She really knows that. She's a gourmet organic raw food chef. She's going to be doing a lot of the food prep of these beautiful smoothies and all sorts of good things for us. So we're in really good hands nutritionally and mind, body, and soul. And here are some of the classes that we will be having. And like Kandy says, we're keeping this fun. So I'll read through these real quickly. and see what speaks to you. And we may even add some more, or we may take away some, but this is what we're feeling right now. The ins and outs of eating with oils, the good, the bad, and the oily. There's a lot to talk about with oils. I love this topic, and I think it's really important that we learn what coconut, what canola is, what rapeseed is, what all of it is, and which ones work when and which ones don't work at all for our bodies. The good, the bad, and the oily. We're talking about the ABCs of vitamins, balancing the alphabet of health. So there's so much about vitamins. Do we know that some vitamins are toxic if we take them too much? Fat soluble. So we really want to talk about what's good, what's bad, and that's why we're balancing that. And can we get some of those from food instead of supplements, and which ones work best in that regard? So we'll be talking about that. The 411 of fermented food. Our fermented goddess is Deb on this call right here, right now, getting the details on friend or foe about fermentation in the body. Deb, if anything you want to say on that while you're here?
Oh gosh, it's just that it's more important than most people realize to maintain the gut balance. And there are some easy ways to do it, some time-tested, true ways to do this in an easy way to work in your body. And the amazing things that can happen when you have fermented foods in your body are amazing. Like I said, it's one of the foundations of health, in my opinion.
So wonderful. And you'll be on one of our future little sneak peeks like we're doing now. Another topic, news, fact, or fiction. Setting the record straight on diet, trends, fads, and truths. I've said on a couple of these, who even knows by next June what's the next latest craze? Because there's always something, what to juice, what not to juice, using the pulp, what not, keto, paleo, fruitarian, breatharian. We're going to talk about all of them and see which one might work for you, or what's worked, what hasn't, and we're all going to share a story in that class. Very excited about that. So important, because one minute you think you're vegan and the next minute you find out you're missing something and you never even knew it. I mean, there's so many scenarios. We're going to help you find what's really out there in fact and what is fiction. Eating with gratitude. I love this. Oksana's really connected to this. We all should be. How our emotions affect what we eat and how they affect our body. Many of us pray over our food. Did you even know that can change the vibration of your food? We're going to talk all about gratitude and how sometimes when we cook in the kitchen angry, that food vibration goes in. There's so much to say about eating with energy, and Oksana will be leading the charge on that. Turning back the clock. Anti-aging foods that bring you back to your prom days. Sounds good. I didn't go to my prom, but I still wouldn't mind, eating like I was 17 or 18 or looking. So there's a lot of anti-aging foods out there, and we're going to talk about all of them. Foods that not only make your skin feel great, but make your insides work as if you were younger than that number that is just a number. So I'm excited about that too. A deep dive into food as medicine, setting sail on what we eat for increased vitality and health. Well, all of us can be sharing that. I'm looking over at Deb because she teaches food as medicine on a regular basis. So deep dive into food as medicine. Anything you want to share on that, Deb?
Well, yeah, it's a fascinating topic, always growing. One of the cool things is that ancient peoples understood many of these things, and now in modern times we have research that shows us exactly how it works. So for example, how does the elderberry help when someone has an immune issue? It literally stops the virus's ability to produce. So science has figured these things out that the ancients have known. And Chinese medicine is what's practiced primarily at our clinic. So we are infused with food as medicine from there, but it's bigger than that. It started with the Chinese medicine and the Chinese foods, but it includes things like chocolate.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking a lot about that. In fact, one of our topics in addition to that is enlightened eating, high vibe foods. that leave you oming for more. So foods that, you know, are aphrodisiacs, foods that make your body want to work better. You mentioned chocolate. That's the first thing I think of when I think about high vibe foods. But we're going to talk about all that. And we want them to be fun because there are foods that stimulate men, foods that stimulate women, things that we didn't even know that we eat. We just happen to feel better. What are things that increase the bliss in ourselves? So we're going to talk about all that and experience that and taste that and all these different, there's a lot of food tastings going on in our week together. And the last one is the colon craze gone wild, why everyone's going cuckoo for caca. I think that's my favorite title. All of them. But, you know, what'd you say? What'd you say, Kandy?
I just said, I guess so. That is the favorite one. I have to agree with you.
Yeah, why everyone's going cuckoo for caca. Loco, I should say, right? We're going to be in Mexico. But why that's so important, you touched on it earlier, Deb, about gut health. And so digestion, gut, elimination, all of the body working together, how that affects our moods, everything, how it affects dis-ease or ease. We're going to be sharing that as well. And we're going to be probably tasting foods that will help us to really flow in all ways. So these are just, I mean, they're just loaded in lots of layers and layers. And some of these classes will be one person. Some of them will be a panel. All the teachers are going, we have a whole team of us all going to teach and co-teach and give different perspectives and different examples. So we will be well nourished in all ways on this 5-day excursion there. Any questions about that? No? Any questions?
I'd like to, it's not really a question, I'd like to add just a because you touched on something about, you know, I talked about receiving the food into us and the wholeness of it. But it just reminds me too that, you know, we really are basic animals, and that if you look at how our animals are, maybe not the domestic ones, but even they kind of know what to eat and when to eat it. You know, more in the wilds where they haven't been so domesticated, that they know which plants or which animals or what time to eat, when to eat. So it's really built into this incredible intelligent system we have. And our eating habits, our media bombardment of what's right, and you said all the choices we have, we kind of lose that innate sense of really discernment of what does serve us and how does it serve us. And so everything I'm hearing you saying, to hear it, just instead of reading it, to hear you say it and looking at the wholeness of it, is that's what we're really doing, is we're going to come home, I'll say it again, to ourselves. And, you know, that was the thing I said in the beginning, that really not just as a personality, but as a human being and as an animal creature, mammal on this planet, that we have all this innate intelligence. And how do we know what to do with all that? And that giving ourselves the time on this beautiful island in this the energetic of sun and wind and water and earth, so we have all the elements around us, and then the knowledge of whether I bring and all the other panel people bring, that we take this in, but we can then discern, because we're not going to be distracted by technology. We won't be distracted by cars and traveling. We won't be distracted by family obligations. Not that they're bad, but we have a chance to really settle into ourselves, to get quiet enough, calm enough to really just feel like I really do know this stuff. There really is this within me that I am that smart and that intelligent, that educated, and that divine to really know and then act. Not just take in the knowledge, but really make choices that serve us, so that you'll have enough time to get it during the day, but to go home with it. We mentioned that earlier, but really you don't lose in your intelligence. You don't lose the experience because you enter your other world.
Right. Reacclimate, reintegrate into your society.
So really the key will be with this kind of immersion and giving yourself the permission to have this much time where it is one topic, you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We then can shift patterns. We can shift our discernment. We can shift our taste buds. We can shift our thought patterns, like even habits that we say, oh, that's how I am. It's like, no, that's not how you are. That's how we've become. That actually has enough time. I mean, normally it's 90 days to 120 days to really make changes. There's studies done on how long it really takes. But that's because you're trying to put it in your daily life at home with all the distractions. But not this. This has got a unique, I've been to a lot of workshops, done a lot of travels, but to take the setting, which is just so nurturing and nourishing and wholesome, it's not quite as disturbed, shall we say, as some of our other, even those of us who live in Florida.
Yeah.
It's beautiful here, but it's been compromised. But this place that we're going to be spending the time has not been that tainted, that disorganized and disrupted. So we have a chance to be with nature in its purest form and take our bodies that are really came from that purity to re-enter into that purity, to match it, as it were, and reconnect with it. And then come home with saying, oh, I'm going to bring this home with me. Like I'm going to wear it home. My skin will change, and my taste buds will be changed, and my eyes will change, and my ears will change. And so we'll come home with this, and we'll give you enough tools. I know that's one intention, as Lainey said, that we would all go home. All of us that are on the panel too, all of us will go home and be able to say, I'm going to put this in my home. I'm not going to leave it on the island. And then there'll be
no question
information that you can live with it. And you may drop a few things off here and there, but then all of us will be available, where none of us are dropping off the planet saying, okay, thanks, it was nice, come be with us. But we're all around. We're all going to be accessible in a variety of ways to say, follow up with us. Ask, how can
exactly
beyond the trip, because that's the really not the only important thing and the most important, but a really important ingredient is that when you go home, you will have enough tools, experiences, not just tools, but have the patterns in yourself, and then you'll have access to all of it.
Beautiful. Thank you. We're just about out of time. I just want to mention two or three more points. One is I want to echo what Kandy has said, is that all the teachers coming to this are all accessible. We all have programs. We all have additional resources. We all have online abilities to work with you. So no matter who comes and wherever you come from all over the world, you will be able to have continued education with any teacher that you see fit, or all. So that will be available. Of course, it's not just at the retreat, but we will continue to offer all sorts of different ways to work with any one of us. Two is we are having a very special raffle. One lucky person is going to get a comped registration if they buy a $10 raffle ticket now through December 10th. You can get more information by going to our Facebook page. Just go to the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat, and that is part of Cape Coral Holistic Chamber of Commerce or Fort Myer Holistic Chamber of Commerce. But if you just type in the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat, you will get our page. There's a registration page on there. There's also the links to buy one of these tickets. The winner, you don't have to be a Holistic Chamber member. Winner will be announced December 10th. You just will have to supply your own airfare and accommodations, and we have already the bookings already set up, blocked this beautiful resort. But the entire retreat, which is $795 for the week, and that's nearly all inclusive of meals and airport transfers and transportations and some museum fees and such. It's all listed on that registration. That would be comped. And if you're not a member of a Holistic Chamber of Commerce, it would be $995 for, again, 5 days of almost all-inclusive yumminess. So that would be a comp. So if you want to buy a raffle ticket, do so. It's a fundraiser for Holistic Chamber of Commerce operations. And after December 10th, we move on and we ask you to register. We are filling, and again, we're only taking 20. This is an intimate immersion of really spending time with 20 wonderful people with 7 to 10 teachers. So we're going to have a wonderful experience and try everything, and it's just going to be wonderful. So questions you may have, you can direct them to that Facebook page and we will get them. You can go to our Holistic Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. The replay of this will be on there. HCCSWFL, that stands for Southwest Florida. That is our YouTube channel. All of these wonderful little sneak peeks are on there, from Tonight's with Kandy to Lucille Trice was on there before. Amy Rabicki was speaking a couple weeks prior. Oksana Dots prior to that. And in the next couple weeks, we have Jeffrey Berger He is all about the going cuckoo for caca. He's all about digestion. He's all about mind, gut, body, biome, all these discussions. He will be talking about that on our next little sneak peek. I think I got it all in. Is there anything I missed? I think we got it all in. Yeah, we really encourage you to go check out that Facebook page. Go to El Milagro Resorts and Marinas. See those beautiful villas. Oh, they're so ornately decorated. Go online, see what we're all about, and we look forward to seeing you there. This will be our annual retreat sponsored by the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. And on top of that, Camille Leone herself, the founder of Holistic Chamber of Commerce, now going into our 10th year, will be joining us as well. So that's exciting. And I think that's it. So thanks for everybody being here today. Wow. Thanks, Kandy, for your grace and your wisdom. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Lucille. Thank you, Tony, and everybody who watched this. Signing off and see you in another couple weeks.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Many blessings. Take care.